This is always the title that, and I mean this is not us memeing on conspiracy theories or anything. This is literally words from the horse's mouth. So, are dragons being mind controlled by Titan fluoridated water? The answer is order magic in the water, turning the dragons docile. Oh boy. Right. Well,
Yes.
yeah.
Sort of.
It's true. At least here it's true.
Not mind controlled. That's not the right word.
True.
It's just changes their thinking to be more orderly.
Do they have calcified pineal glands? I believe isn't that the way that the sayings go?
Yeah, the saying goes, fluoride calcifies the pineal gland. The pineal gland is known as the seat of the soul in a lot of philosophy and ancient alchemy. The you know that like Egyptian eye that you see everywhere? The eye of who was it? I can't remember which one it was. Osiris, Anubis, I can't remember. But whatever god it was, that looks like the pineal gland. So obviously they figured some shit out. We're like, is that God inside your brain? Yeah.
God's metal as shit.
It really is.
I love mythology so
It's
much. So much fun.
Yeah.
So the Eye of Horus.
Eye of Horus, yes. Yes, that's what it is.
There we go. Yeah, cool. So the point basically here is, he says, I'm pleased to say the halls of infusion are operational. Through the work of imbuing order magic into the wellspring is only the beginning. I am optimistic that the whole process will prove effective. Basically, some of this corruption was administered by the administrator of corruption, at least one of them, Yogg-Saron, and that was compromising these living waters. It was doing bad stuff. It, in fact, triggered the Galakrond-like situation. So I suppose you could imagine with Galakrond, he's big beastie boy. He's just going around doing beastie things. But then, he slurped up some bad water. He's eaten an animal that's eaten the water. Now he's full of magnesium. Yeah. No, not magnesium. Oh, what's the one that's in the fish? Mercury. Yes.
Mercury's in the fish.
So, he's just continually ingesting all of this corruption via these waters, and I suppose.
Oh yeah, is that not just confirmation that Yogg-Saron did Galakrond? Yeah.
Oh yeah,
that's right.
Yeah, I wrote a video about this. Yeah. We haven't actually released it yet.
No,
I'll get to that. But anyway, so it's like not a case, I think, of Yogg-Saron being like, I've controlled you. It is just Yogg-Saron is, he's corrupting nature. Mm-hmm. Right, and if you sort of think to a Eye of Thoth, interesting. You maybe think to how things are now, right? And a situation where maybe some sort of Roundup or some pesticide is sprayed over all the crops over in the States, or all the cattle are fed something a little bit weird, and then it makes it into the food chain and it starts to have health issues, and that's why there's all these regulations and stuff over the farming and all of that. And I guess
you should see how caffeinated city water is.
Caffeinated?
Sorry, not city wastewater.
You're telling me I can get a free Americano?
You wouldn't want to drink it. Fish though, fish are very caffeinated.
Fish are caffeinated?
Fish are caffeinated because wastewater gets filtered back out and the caffeine doesn't get filtered out, so there's really high levels of caffeine in fish,
So that's it. I've just been mainlining salmon all day and I'm good to go.
Yeah.
But it's that idea, right? That,
it's actually really bad for them.
Shit gets into the ecosystem, things eat that, and then it gets into them, right? Like the whole thing of if you eat predatory fish all the time, like take swordfish. I mean, they are hardcore motherfuckers. They're also delicious. I ate a barbecued one like 15 years ago, and I've never had a swordfish since. But the thing is, the swordfish goes and eats all the other little fish. Now, those little fish have, yada, 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 yada. So that means that if you just think about the amount of flesh that this swordfish is consumed, and just all this mercury builds up in the swordfish. And this is the thing that is I think quite a genuine health concern. So imagine instead of mercury, it's old god corruption, and that's basically what you've got going on here. And that's why I think it's interesting that he was described as an administrator of corruption, right? Just kind of spreading it around. And to Galakrond then, because one of the things I think that we learned from the Shadowlands expansion is things do just get a bit more lame whenever it's like, you're a pawn in my plan, in a very active sense, right?
Yeah,
So is
5D
Galakron...
chess sucks.
Yeah.
5D chess sucks unless it's literally Death Note, and that's the point of the series. Like...
Yeah, so it's this sort of thing where if you just found out that Galakron was just Yogg's lackey, that would be lame. But if you found out that Galakron was less his lackey, and it's more that Galakron fell victim to the, the tweaking around of the parameters and weird, shit, and then Galakron goes off and does his own thing.
Yeah.
And then I think that just helps Galakron feel more like a force of nature.
Yeah,
I think that works a lot better.
Is that more the equivalent of, like, say, Old God Water turning Prodrakes into a Prodrake into Galakron? Is that the equivalent of what, the first time you showed up in Ungoro Crater or Shalazar went, what's up? This? Bro, there's like a desert next door? Why is there a dinosaur crater? And then you find out, Titan testing ground for life. Oh, yeah, sweet. That makes sense. And it seems quite nice. Obviously, it's terrifying, but you think, nice, happy life. But then you think Galakron, you're like corrupted necromancer dragon that eats his own, eats everything. And then whatever he eats, if he doesn't digest them entirely, they become undead. That's fucked up. So you kind of, okay, it's like you say, it's natural. It's them doing what the Titans do. It's just we look at it and we kind of go, we don't like that as much.
Yeah. So to get to Steve's explanation of all this, because people, I think, got a little bit worried that, oh dear, it's going to happen again.
Yeah.
Right? It's it's not domination magic. It's different this time, but it is the same. People worried about that. I think it's a fair enough worry.
Domination water.
The good thing, Steve has been very clear that it ain't that. So there's this wellspring. Tierhold was built atop this natural phenomenon with waters that are akin to some of the ones we've seen in places like the Well of Eternity, the Vale, and so forth. These are waters that are kind of touched by the energies of Azeroth, and as we've seen, Azeroth's energies are a force of change, right? I mean, trolls turn into night elves, right? So a part of the reasoning of building Tierhold was to be able to say, okay, what's this Azeroth water doing? This Azeroth water is just making shit happen. This could make shit happen in a way that we don't like. So what do we Titans need to do? We need to put some folate, some vitamin D, a little bit of this, a little bit of that.
All of these dragons' teeth are going bad. How do we solve this?
So, they just infuse some order magic into these waters, and then they feed those out to the life pools of the Red Flight, and that ensures, from the Titans' point of view, that this good water is being fed to them. Now, it's very interesting there, because if you think about what Azeroth is, if we're kind of beginning to understand that Azeroth, maybe, Azeroth turns into a big blue space woman if Aman'Thul gets to her and turns her into that. But maybe we're beginning to understand that she's not necessarily that. And if, this energy is just unbound potential and change.
She's a blank canvas with a conscious that's asleep.
Yeah, because everyone's trying to get to her.
No, hang on. Yeah, Donuts is right.
No.
The Primalists are right. No, just realized Azeroth already has a conscious, so her consciousness should be left the way it is, and the Titans would just overtake it and change it. And that'll be unnatural.
Oh, yeah. Oh, the Primalists are definitely right.
The Primalists are right, yep.
Yeah, of course. Of course, this is the thing. They're right, but they're being dickheads about it.
Yeah.
It's like, maybe you have some valid points, but you just bombed a chippy.
Can I talk about Shinzo Abe yet?
That is the most insane.
Yeah, I'll maybe do it later.
It is. It's really fascinating.
And it's relevant to the Primalists. Which I think is good. Yeah.
So the Titans, though, it's kind of interesting that here they are trying to make Azeroth's water are they just canceling the corruption with nice, tasty water? Or are they moving it in their direction?
Yeah, are they filtering the water, or are they filtering it and then sprinkling some stuff in the end? Steve implies it has the dose of order in there, like he says. Mm-hmm. He says it still has the positive energy. It's good to feed, put the eggs in, help them grow strong, all that sort of thing. But it also has that dose of order in there, which is like putting fluoride into water, where it has an outcome that you want to have happen, which means that the eggs and so forth that would be put in the water would be more inclined to be more orderly in their thought.
Yeah.
And then goes on to say, like, something the Titans want to happen, you don't have to look at it as a sinister thing. It could be like, oh, they're trying to help the little whelplings, but at the end of the day, they want to serve the Titans' agenda, so an orderly outcome is what they want. So they're not been directly mind-controlled. Influenced, yes. Nudge towards things, yes, but it's not draconian as direct mind control. So it's a bit,
I think it's
a bit, it's weird to me because, to be brutally honest, I read that as, I haven't thought of this. It's not quite mind control, but it's sort of the same thing, but not as quite grim. Just because it's really hard to delineate what's mind control and what's not mind control. Because you go, oh, you're not that mind controlled. Or like, well, Scientology doesn't, or the Unification Church don't mind control people. But they do, whoever ruin their lives by nudging them in certain directions.
If you have a deficiency of magnesium, vitamin D, you might be depressed. If you have a deficiency in B12, that also can contribute to depression. That's an interesting thing of like, it literally is just a little thing and it will change. So, can you say, oh yeah, I'm being mind controlled in a way that gives me a propensity to be depressed because I'm not having these vital nutrients?
Yeah, that's the thing where you do have to go, like, it's all the talk about it serving the agenda is like, okay, well, yeah, you want the dragons who have chosen aspectness to be big and strong, sure. But it's also a lot of emphasis been put on this for a way that just, especially because, like, in isolation, this would be fine. But it's also, you think about the Primalists as the antagonists, and you assume the antagonists are, like, correct. Or, sorry, not correct. Have an element of truth to them, have a point, and have a motive that makes actual sense and they fully believe in. So you go, because a lot of, especially when you look at, like, the Odin stuff, and it's very, well, what did Odin do? A lot of awful things to get his way, including putting people in hell forever and betraying them. You're like, okay, well, obviously Tyr wouldn't be up to exactly that, but Odin's like, oh, this sounds like a good plan, work away at that. And it's all this suspicion been put on the Keeper's motives and the Titan's motives as well, that kind of make it lean a little bit to me going, I can't help, despite Steve saying you don't have to look at it as a sinister thing, it's very hard for me not to look at it as a sinister thing, given the full context.
Well, I think Steve would be saying, I mean, maybe he brings up the whole fluoride in the water thing.
Yeah.
Because there are some people that look at fluoride in the water and they would maybe say, well, I don't, this is not what I would want. If I, want to have, I don't know, some fortified water, then I will just get that. So maybe we'll put a filter on or something, right? Like, there'll be a bunch of people who will see that and think that. There'll be other people who will look at it and be like, this seems like a reasonable public health decision.
Yeah, what's that? Like, the people have teeth problems across the entirety of country. What will solve that? Putting fluoride in the water. There you go. Seems reasonable and pragmatic.
And because I saw some people like almost like trying to cancel Steve for being a conspiracy theorist, which I thought was a pretty crack thing to do. But I look at this and I think like, well, yeah, there's two fairly obvious sides of the put this in the water, don't put this in the water. And I mean, yeah, it can obviously get a bit conspiratorial, but I think it's something we can all understand. One group of people are like, look, I don't know. I think a touch of order is good for you. Look at these very ordered dragons. They're very cool. They can fly. Look at their big powers. Awesome. This is a wildlife preservation feature to make them not go all scraggly and terrible. Yeah. And other people are like, oh, well, what if I want to be scraggly and terrible? You've just changed my water, Mr. Titan.
Yeah.
And they're angry. So I think it seems reasonable enough to me.
Yeah, it's that. Yeah.
Yep. To be clear, we are not making any decisions. We are just presenting arguments that other people make.
Yes, precisely that. It is.
Do you know what?
I hope this gets resolved in a way, and it's not just kind of left vaguely open. I hope this is something that they actually have an idea of, because there's so much effort into the Halls of Infusion existing, and so much of that being tied to the life builds. You're like, this is either a red herring you've literally wasted my time on by overdoing it, or you're going to make this a plot point. And there's a part of me reads this as going, and some of this is just pure cope, but I'm like, I hope this is Steve just trying to dodge the question as best he can, because it's actually something we deal with pretty early in the expansion. I hope so.
So Alex Drones was right and WoW then. You see, here's the thing, Kaji. If you imagine you have a game
dear.
that plays like Doom, and the only conceit of the game is the world. Imagine if the game was just called The World According to Alex Jones, you're like, all right, we've got to get a chainsaw and kill vampire pedophiles. People would be like, fuck yeah, this is like Doom. And then it was in that context that I read about it was the third book in C.S. Lewis, Lion, Witch, and the Wardrobe, C.S. Lewis's science fiction series, where the third book is like literally people on Earth communing with demons to like in a conspiratorial sense. And then you realize, holy fuck, C.S. Lewis wrote Doom.
Yeah. So, Ashendon, that's an interesting question. They say, are we assuming the dragons don't already know? And that's what I'm hoping is like something we can touch on is because the dragons, to use the fluoride in the water example, right? Again, how many people are aware that like cities and councils make the decision to put stuff in their water? Because to find out, you have to go and look at the legislation. I mean, same with like food, same with like, what pesticides have been allowed in my food? How is this beef that I'm eating? How was that raised, etc.?
Yeah, a lot of people...
you have to go and find that out.
Yeah, one of the things a lot of people were angry with like the Brexit situation was, but if we drop the EU standards, then we will get meat that American people have to eat. Oh, God!
Oh, yeah, we get horse in Iceland again. Let's go.
But man... For everyone in the land of Rock, Flag, and Eagle, I feel really bad for how like expensive fresh produce is for you guys. It's not fair.
Yeah, if you're ever considering coming over here, come over and then go to like a greengrocer and a butcher and buy some meat and veg. You'll be amazed. And I had another point I want to make about it. What was I talking about? Some comparison, something. What was it? Yeah, it's how the Titans know and like the stuff that it was. If you assume the best interest of the people who are governing or controlling you or something like that, right? So I just got sidewinded because I saw Dark Soul say you can get some of our lovely corn and tainted baby formula. I looked at the ingredients of some baby formula in the US and I was like, that country is hell.
I forget.
It's just high fructose corn syrup.
I've completely forgotten what it was, but I remember looking at the ingredients of something recently and it was just like sugar, corn syrup, another type of sugar. I'm like, holy fuck. No, I know what it was. It was Twizzlers.
Oh, Twizzlers.
I think it was the ingredients of Twizzlers because they're in there. Because some of the people on our team brought some Twizzlers back from the States. It was really funny.
Yeah, so my point is that if you assume good faith in, like, because obviously the dragons are allied with the Titans. So they're going to assume the Titans are like, here's some good water. They'll be like, that's some good ass water. Makes our dragons good and strong. Sweet. We will not question your motives because we're on your side. And it's like, what do they know that? Like, have they seen what happens if an egg's raised without that water? I mean, yes, but let's not ignore that for a second. Like, what happens if you just take like an egg? Right, here's normal water, or here's what happens if there's proto-drake water goes in. You're like, what's the mechanics of this in a way? You're like, well, will they feel betrayed if they find out that there's a little bit of I saw it described earlier as Titan compliance juice. It's yum. Is there anyone who's going to hear that and go, hang on a second, what do you mean this is compliance juice? I'm going to not have any of this compliance juice for a while and see what happens. And that's like a thing that you could kind of you could see happen as like a dragon kind of as a bit of drama within dragons to like, because obviously you start to think, well, is this all like just, are you just talking about like the World of Warcraft game is going to deal with conspiracy theory stuff? But it's more what it would mean for character development and stories within dragons. Because you want, because obviously Razageth shows up and goes, cleanse a Titan stain, and you're like, what are you talking about? And especially for a dragon who's new, because a lot of these dragons are like actually new. Obviously the aspects know all that's happened, but for like Rathion, he'd be like, does anyone mind catching me up on what's actually happened here? Because I would very much like to know before I make any decisions.
Yeah, and then fucking wild card.
Yeah, and then he turns around and goes, wait, what's in the water? How's that any different from what happened to my dad? Because that was obviously Galakron was the old god, was Yogg water. Yogg water's funny. Because obviously someone pointed out that Yogg was sitting in the fucking pool of water when we fight him. Like, yeah, so how's this any principally different to the Yogg water? And then, like, Alexstrasza goes, shut up. And he goes, I'm going to go talk to Eridicron and see what he has to say about that. And then you've got Wrathion being like this weird double agent going, wait, what's going on? What's the truth? And then he's obviously able to find the truth. And then you have, because there's a little bit of setup in the short story that
I'll make a note to myself.
Yeah.
We need to do some merch that is like Yogg juice.
Yeah, sweet. Let's go for that. But there's a bit of setup in the short story for Wrathion. That is, he has a recurring nightmare. And the nightmare is they're defending the timeline. They're defending the Caverns of Time from, I can't remember. I think it just calls it Darkness, which is unnamed foe. But it's him as the leader of the Black Dragonflight, and all of the Dragonflights are fighting in unison together. But then the shadow comes over him, and then he starts you realize he starts to feel hot. He has a metal plate on his chin, basically transforms into Deathwing, and then he starts being attacked by his own flight and by the others. So there's a little bit of him being like, he wants all the dragons to be together, but he's terrified if they won't. So it'll be a pretty good character turn if he suddenly goes and has a bit of an arc, just a bit of an arc, where he's fighting against the other flights. Not literally goes to war with them, but he's like, I'm going to have to do some soul searching and turn around and be like, right, Alex, I cannot have my black dragon flight raised in the ruby life pools until I know what's going on. And that'll be like a weird thing that falls apart. That probably won't happen. Well, but it's the kind of thing that it could. It would be a good way for that story to kind of go and build out this there's drama within the dragons for a new reason, and it shows the dragons as maybe you're you were a little bit too complacent, and maybe pushes the Titan keepers maybe not ideal stuff pretty well.
And some of it's also like, hey there, Alexstrasza, you know the way you basically get to be the queen of life and be extremely powerful? You're benefiting from all this.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, to Alexstrasza, she would probably then turn around and say, actually, no, this is, yes, I can, you could maybe think that I'm in a very privileged position. I would say I have a very big burden, which is really just to say all of this is very good storytelling potential.
For character drama.
It actually is very good potential.
Family fallouts, which is the most drama. Great.
Yeah.
Very, very strong as long as they go for it.